Okay, good evening for everybody, dear Venerables and Dhamma friends. We are going to start the question and answer session. And before, I would like to give a little explanation about the changing of the schedule. We had 7 topics to be discussed and we have already done 5. So therefore today onward, there won't be evening talk. Only we are going to have the morning and evening. That hour we can use for walking meditation. And hence that I suggested, and accordingly today we change the program. Now we are going to start the question and answer session. As usual, we will start with the written question. Anyone who knows about the box, question box?
So, Bhante, we speak about noting and counting. And what about journaling?
What about
journaling? So some keeps diaries.
Yeah, this question is about tactics of noting and labeling, and journaling also question. So that is also good. That is how we promote, encourage interview reports. Interview report indicates that how is the progress. You yourself can, while you are writing itself, you can understand whether you are catching, progressing, both in quantity and quality. So therefore, when you read the Tripitaka or the 3 baskets, the Sutta Pitaka is just like journaling. Different people, how did they encountered with Dhamma, and after practicing what happened. They are in the gist, they are in the very summarized form. So that's a kind of their own accountability, their own journaling. So when we are in mindful school, we always encourage children to either draw or sing or to write. Then only they get enough chances to express themselves. They are very, very short to the point. Very interesting when compared to the elderly people. So journaling is highly appreciated. That is what we call the dialogue, the discussion, the interviews. Yes, we are appreciating.
මේකේ කියන්නේ මේ සක්මන් භාවනාව ගැන ඊට භාවනා කරනකොට සිරින් භාවනාවේ මේ එක එක රූප පේනවා
කියන්නේ
ආරම්භයේ නොතිබූ සතිය ඊයේ හවස සත්වන විට ලැබූ ලනුපැදුරේදීගත් එකඟ වූ සිතෙන් යාමට පුළුවන් විය. තාරපාරේ රළු බව, ගල් කැට, සීතල උණුසුම ආදිය පායට දැනුනි. දකුණ වම ආදී වශයෙන් පටන් ගත්තද මාරුවෙන් මාරුවට යටිපතුලට දැනෙන ස්පර්ශය මත සිහිය පිහිටුවමින් ගමන් කළෙමි. ඊළඟට පරියංකයේ සතිය විනාඩි 20ක් පමණ එක සිතුවිලි වරමින් සිටීමට හැකි විය. ඉන්පසු විවිධ රූප සිතට පැමිණියාය. නින්ද ගියාද කියා ඇස්සර බැලුවෙමි. හුස්ම රැල්ල නැති වී ගියාය. එම රූප සියල්ල මිනිස් මුහුණවල් විය. මා දෙස බලමින් තනිකම අතුරුදන් වේ. එක් රුවක් මට විරිත්තනවා මෙන් දුටින්. ඉන්පසු සිත එකඟ කර ගැනීමට අමාරුය. එයට අසනීප නිසා සිදුවක්ද, අඩනින්දට වැටීම නිසා සිදුවක්දයි නොදනි. ඔවුන් කිසිවකු මට මීට පෙර මුණ ගැසී නැත. මට මෙය නිතර පවතින අත්දැකීම. තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
මේක ඇත්තටම සතිය කියන එක මේ සිද්ධියේදී තමයි මට තේරුනේ කියන වගේ ආරම්භයක් තියෙන්නේ. ඇත්තටම සතිය කියන එක මුළු ජීවිතේ පුරාම තියෙන එකක්. වෙන්නේ අපි සතියට අවදි වෙන එක. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේකයි සතිය කියලා තේරුම් ගන්න එක. ඊට පස්සේ ජීවිතේ වෙනස්. ඒක හරියට අපි කන්නඩියක් ඉස්සරහා ඉන්නවා වගේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි ඉන්නේ CCTV කැමරා එක වගේ. ඒ දවසක අපි දකිනවා ඒ වීඩියෝ ක්ලිප් එක ඔක්කොම රෙකෝඩ් වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපි මෙතෙක් කල් ඉඳලා තියෙන්නේ දන්නේ නැතුව. ඉතින් ඒ දැනගෙන ඉන්න එක වඩා හොඳයි කියන එක තමයි බුද්ධ මතය. ඉතින් ඒක තමන් දැන් තමයි මේ සතිය කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා තේරුම් ගත්තට ඔය යම්දම් පටන් ගත්ත විතරයි. ඔය සතිය අට පොලක තව වර නැගෙනවා. අට පොලක තව පිරිසුදු භාවයටපත් වෙනවා. වෙන හැම වෙලාවෙම තේරෙනවා මේක නැතුව අපි කොහොම මේ සංසාරේ හිටියද කියලා. ඒ තරමටම ඔය යන්තම් පටන් අරගත්ත සතිය ඊට පස්සේ නතර කරන්න බෑ. මේක ඇඩික්ෂන් එකක්. මේක ලෝකේ තියෙන භයානකම හැබැයි. ඔය පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්ට්‍රොඩියුස් කරලා දුන්නට පස්සේ ඒක විසීම වර නැගි ඉදිරියට යනවා. ඒක නිසා හැකි ඉක්මනට අපිට කරන්න තියෙන කාට හරි මේක අවදි කරලා දෙන එකයි. මේක අපි ලැබපු බර්ත් රයිට් එකක්. මේක අපි ලැබපු ජන්ම දායාදයක්. මේක නොදැනී ඉඳීම තමයි අවිද්‍යාව කියලා කියන්නේ. මේක තියෙනවා, ඒ තියෙන බව දන්න එක තමයි මේ සතිපාසලෙන් නැත්නම් මේ රිට්‍රීට් කරලා අපි කෙනෙකුට දෙන ඇත්තටම මොකක්වත්ම අලුතෙන් දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කෙනෙක්ගේ තියෙන ඒ possibility එකේ potential එක පොඩ්ඩක් උපදාලා දෙන එක විතරයි කරන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක සිද්ධ වෙනවා. So if I am to give a brief translation, this report indicates yesterday evening, of course, I came to know I came to experience mindfulness, and then onward I found whatever this surface I am walking upon, whether it's a left leg or right leg, and while in sitting also, there were a lot of things are happening. They were all recorded, like some faces appeared while I am in the breath meditation, and some no one known. Everyone is something new, and some people with the expressions, and sometimes distracting, and that is often happens. Is the unknown faces are appearing. I don't know whether I am sleeping or it's a dream or half dream or not. So this is the content of it. So whenever you are stopping the inputs into the mind, the visual objects, sounds, smell, taste, and the breath also stops, then internal library shots going to come out. Otherwise you are not allowing anything to come out, because always you are putting new impressions, impingements, sounds, smells, visuals, tastes, smell, touch, and thinking. So with the help of mindfulness, that is not the main purpose of it, with the help of mindfulness, specifically in sitting, if you calm down and let the sea to be completely go without any waves, then there is a chance for your subconscious to come out. Your psychological wounds can come out. So more it comes, it's a kind of a relaxation, kind of a revealing, and reducing the weight. Not always everyone is having these visuals. Some people may have some sounds, some smells, some tastes, and some bodily jerks and kind of thing, and mental, some specific areas. So they usually happen when you are in the deep sleep or the dream state. So this is called lucid dream, because you can be awakened. You can understand from the gross area of the breath become subtle and subtlest, and then when they come up to a certain level, this what is inside your memory, inside the brain, going to come out. So you can handle carefully. Some of them are very bad, specifically the adverse childhood experience. But coming out is good. It is like a wound is having a pus, and it is coming out. Then easy to heal. But unless otherwise you go prepared, very difficult to face it. You must have so much of faith. You must have so much of energy. You must have so much of mindfulness to face. So then you are the psychiatrist, you are the psychopathic patient, mindfulness is the medicine, and it is happening. Just counseling, free association. So it's a very cheap thing. Therefore, there's no second party. There's a book called Without the Psychopath, where the psychiatrist, you are revealing yourself. So that's the best. But if you are a good meditation master, you can help promote others to just let them come. Don't put new thing into the basket. Then only the things packed, things in the memory, things in the library shots come out. We never give any chance. As far as we are living in an active world, eyes are open, sounds are there, smell, taste, touch and the mental aspects, we never give a rest, unless otherwise you are falling into a sleep. So if you are not going into sleep, insomnia, few days time you go crazy. No balancing, because you are putting so much of things. But in a meditation is very healthy way, you do voluntarily, so let it happen, and don't try to interpret what is happening. You have to just say the coming out is good. Just let it happen. When and where, if you can't unbearable, go back to the primary object. But the thing is, by that time, primary object also very subtle. But anyway, it is at eye shot. You can cross-check and see. As far as you can go there, again you can give a chance for this to come out, good or bad. Usually, fairly things, the coming out is not expected one, quite unexpected. So therefore it's a natural healing. We are going to the next, please.
In my concentration practice, my experience of piti has changed. 5 years ago, piti was very energetic. Nowadays, piti is more subtle. My mind inclines to go to the boundless place. Was your instruction to stay in piti? Or is it okay to pass through piti and go to the boundless space? Thank you.
So whatever may be, piti, sukha, whatever thing, the first time you see, it's very dramatic, very attractive. But when you practice, keep on practicing, they become day-to-day activities like. So that means mind is ready to go to the next stage. So you have to give enough chances for things to happen. And then earlier it was very dramatic and very appreciable and hilarious, but later it is not. If you are chewing gum, soon you put that into the mouth, it's very sweet. When you keep on eating, you feel tired at your jaws. No taste. It's just the gum. So exactly the same, whatever the thing we are earning in our life, before we earn, it's a very dramatic and very eventful, but after, when you are living with it, it becomes normalized. That indicates mind is going to go to the higher grade. So therefore, don't try to manipulate, I must go this, I must go that. Let the mindfulness to run the show, then natural thing will happen. So that means so much of hours, so much of event, so much of practice, long time, then only your mind become mature, you develop the personality, you develop the immunity, not to taken away, not to carried away by these things. But at the beginning, it explained in such a way, someone feel like going there and have it as a prize, have it as a gift. But after a while, everything become normalized. But that does not mean you are deteriorating or you are degrading, but mind is reaching higher grades. So best thing is to let the mindfulness to run the show. Develop the mindfulness and ask the mindfulness to run. And then some episodes become very insignificant, some episodes become very expanded. It depends. So don't worry about whatever it may be, you are progressing.
I was also into a rough life as a kid. Because of this, it is hard to feel love from and towards people. How do I get off this coldness?
It is that early part that I am a rough child, and they are of course trouble to the others, but as you mature usually that is happening, and what to do and what is the method. And this is simply called maturity. But in mindfulness you can have your own reflection upon that. Without mindfulness you consider this as a norm. My experience is everyone's experience. So therefore they must tolerate me. But when you are putting the mindfulness into that, you are not going to measure others' experience from your yardstick. So that is how you understand it. The rough lives like Angulimala and other cases, the Buddha never considered them as low grade or they are the people with wrong. Just went there and talked with them, and ultimately they became the best people, those who can understand others. There are a number of such dramatic characters, and they are the people can understand why people are behaving like that. Because he or she is having his or her own experience. They are not, we are working someone's agenda. It is not me. It says this household like my body, I am not the experiencer. I am not the owner. I have no executive power. Something happening here. So everything you must not be prepared to take the experience, take the responsibilities. You have to just see what is happening. And there you have to understand not only one, everyone. They have no agenda. Not a single person on the earth. If it is so, we can say, please be with the breath for 10 cycles. No, impossible. 10 minutes? No, they have to fight. Now breathe in, but to be mindful, impossible. So therefore we see people having their own disciplined life or indisciplined life, but each and everyone is not answerable. And Karl Marx used to say it is because of the class difference. And Buddha mentioned it is because of the external upakkilesa that we are associating our lustrous mind always accumulate or have kind of a rusting, have kind of a grease layer. And Isaac Newton mentioned, if the thing is moving in the space, it's always straight. Unless otherwise something come and hit you. If something hit, you have a reaction just like to the action. So usually human beings are good fellows. Unless otherwise exposed to the society. Society means we ourselves. So simple answer is, be unto yourself, go to solitude and see. But by itself it is not healing. Then you can understand I am a completely different person when I close my eyes. When I am trying to be here and now, I am not a social being. That's why the Buddha says that if you wish to explore into that, aranyagato rukkhamulagato sunyagarato, go to a forest, sit under a tree, or go to a place where people are not in the sensuous indulgence, and then try to be. Completely different journey. So the only thing is that if you are not sympathizing yourself, if you are not forgiving and forgetting about yourself, you are a criminal. You will never sympathize another person. First and foremost, you have to understand, I am subject to this situation, but I can't, I am not answerable. Not that you are like the wild buffalo taken in from the wilderness. You have to take care. But just by wish, you can't do it. Even if you wish to be a rugged person, if you wish to be a calm person, only by wish you can't. With that wish, you have to work, you have to meditate, you have to mindful. Then you find kind of a control, kind of a, you can monitor it. That monitoring is always good. So therefore, first and foremost, you have to understand it. And the world is ready to forgive and forget. When I am doing all the bad things, I expected the bad consequences. But hardly any the bad thing happened to me, because when I go and tell, this is nothing special, because you are a robust young man. This is how it is. No problem. So I thought that they are too much compassionate towards me. So therefore, when I see someone, I think I have no rights to see someone's mistake, because I have done so much of things, but I was not punished. Had that happened, I would have also been a very more rough person. So therefore, that kind of a revelation, that kind of a self-exploration is quite necessary for you to reshuffle your combination. Otherwise, you are in a rut. So therefore, these are the way we get rejuvenated, refined. So therefore, be sympathetic, try to forgive and forget, because next moment is utterly pure. Next thought moment is utterly pure. So if you are ready, a few thought moments time, you get a chance, you get a new, fresh chances. But if you are not forgiving and forgetting, you are already in hell. You are torturing yourself. But it is not a must, because you are not never too late. You can reconsider.
ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ මම සිටිමි සහ සති නිමිත්ත කියා අදහස් කරන්නේ එකම දෙයක්ද නොයසේ නම් වෙනස කුමක්ද පැහැදිලි කර දෙන්න. තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
මම සිටිමි සහ සති නිමිත්ත සති නිමිති අපිට කීපයක් අඳුරලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. මම දැන් මෙතන. එහෙම නැත්නම් slowly, mindfully, silently. එහෙම නැත්නම් මැරිලා නැති බවට තියෙන හුස්ම. නිින්ද කියලා නැති බවට තියෙන හුස්ම. හුස්ම දැනගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන් අසතියින් ඉන්නවට වඩා. එහෙම නැත්නම් සක්මන් කරනකොට මම දැන් එතන කරන වැඩේ. කෑම කනකොට තමයි චේතනාත්මකව කරන වැඩේ. වතුර ටිකක් නාන වෙලාවක නාන බව. දත්මදින වෙලාවෙදි කරන චේතනාපූර්වව කරන වැඩේ. ඒතර මම දැන් මෙතන කියන එක තියෙන යමක් නොකර පරියන්කේ ඉන්න වෙලාවක අනික ඕන වෙලාවක ඒ තමන් ගත කරන දේ සති නිමිත්ත කර ගන්න පුළුවන්. This question is about what are the benchmarks, what are the pivotal points for the mindfulness to be installed. Here now I am is one, and here now I am, and the pivotal point is the same. No, pivotal points 1001. Here now I am is when you are passive, when you are sitting completely, eyes are closed. Luckily, if you have no other distracting sounds, no smell, no taste, and no tactile sensation. If the tactile sensation is there on the breath, you know it, and the mind is focused to that. Then there are three characteristics. With that touch of the breath, you know you are not dead. You know you are not sleeping. you know you are not unconscious. So here now I am indicates not dead, not unconscious, not sleepy. So this is the one point. But when you are taking a bath, when you are eating, when you are brushing your teeth, what are the intentional thing you do will become your benchmark. It is difficult when you are with another person, when you are in a dialogue. So that is why we say don't have any socialization at the beginning. You try to be with yourself, and of course there are some events, but try to reduce it as much as possible. But once you develop the mindfulness with the intentional activity, or here now I am, or we develop SMS. You have to, whenever if you wish to be mindful, you have to be slowly, mindfully, silently. SMS. Not the SMS in your cell phone. This is SMS. And the silence means you have to listen to your sounds whole day. When you are walking, how much sounds? When you are closing a door, when you are washing a dish, when you are talking to someone, you have to be conscious. And when and where you are listening to your own sounds, it's a very quick way, very efficient way, you to be mindful. So likewise, lot of benchmarks, lot of pivotal points, lot of signs you can take, and that is how we expand our mindful life, not confined to the meditation center, not confining to sitting and closing your eyes. You can expand, but at the beginning, you have to start with the one thing at a time, and that done well principle. Later, it will expand naturally. Yes.
Bhante, the first few sittings this week, my mind wandered to thought of shame and self-loathing.
Shame?
Self-loathing. Self-loathing.
Loathing. Yeah.
Suddenly everything changed, and while meditating, I have planned a book about my life. When will things change so I can meditate while meditating? Is there a pattern to this?
No, there is no universal pattern. First, when you put forth your effort to be mindful, it's very difficult to understand what does it mean by mindfulness. What is the pivotal point? And after, so some or the other, the day you understand, maybe this is mindfulness, then you understand so much of unmindful events. Amidst of all the thing, only occasionally I get a one thought moment, two thought moments, or one breath, or one step. And there you find so much of unmindfulness. So you get desperate. Think, how can I become totally mindful person? So I put it that way, in a constructive way. First you understand mindfulness. As a result of your mindfulness, as a progress, you understand unmindfulness. You must embrace unmindfulness. So that is the way you give a chance for mindfulness to reflect and say, whatever the effort you are doing, most of the time you are not mindful. That knowledge comes because you install mindfulness. So once that happens, that self-compassion or forgiving and going, unless otherwise you have interviews, unless otherwise you talk with other practicing people, often that unmindfulness is discouraging you. But it's a very good joke. When we are living in an open society, how much we are unmindful. But for unmindful people, it is not a case, because they don't know mindfulness and unmindfulness. That's how we were so far. Once you become mindful, appear like you are without a skin. Everywhere pricky. The Buddha says it is like the cow without skin. While sleeping, the mosquitoes and the flies and come and disturb. If you lie down, the worms can come and attack you. If you go to water, fish can come. So likewise, you will like somewhat exposed. That's the way the sensitivity increases. So therefore, as and when it happens, you have to share with others and have dialogue, have a discussion. Because everyone is not revealing in the same manner, different ways, but each and every one is fresh. Each and every experience is new. The way it unwinding, the way it disentangling. So nothing private and confidence. If you are sharing with others, that will give a kind of a practical hint. Just like unmindfulness, just like mindfulness, they are after a while working each other, working reciprocally, and always going to benefit for the practitioner. So can happen according to your direct dispositions, your underlying tendencies. The unmindfulness become dramatic. Mindfulness may be common, but unmindfulness, and you feel like it is no private and confidence. Whenever necessary, you reveal. We have the big books like these, 50 of number of books we call canon. And in Sinhala, each and every book, there is one particular sutta. Baranduka Sutta. It says, the Buddha says, according to the teaching of the Buddha, if you reveal, if you expose, it will be better rather than hiding. So your unmindfulness is a part you can share with others. So you must not look down if someone is unmindful, because he is already installed mindfulness. Through the lens of mindfulness only you can see the unmindfulness. So different thing can happen. It depends on your direct dispositions and your underlying tendencies. But all are human. And everything is fresh. Each and every time when it happens, there's no second chance. No the similar events. Everything is fresh. So when you keep a journal, you can understand how the disentanglement happens. It's very, very poetic. It's very aesthetic. Nothing to be thrown away. Yes.
ගරු ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ මේ ගතිය මට දැනුනේ අද උදෑසන සිටයි. මා ආශ්වාස පාශ්වාසයට ඉඳගත් විට ටික වේලාවකින් මුළු ඇඟම නලියයි. සිරිගඩු පිපේ. අත්පා බඩ පපුව පිට සියලු ප්‍රදේශවල. නැවත ඔළුවේ මුහුණේ සතුන් යනවා වැනි දෙයක් දැනේ. කිහිප විටක් අතගා බැලිමි. ඒත් සතුන් නැත. මේ ගතිය නැති වී යයි. නැවතෙයි. නැති වෙයි. නැවතෙයි. මෙලෙස දිගටම පවතී. මේ තරමක සතුටක්ද දැනේ. නැවත බැලීමටද සිටේ. ආනාපානයට හිත තැබුවද ඒටද වඩා මේ හිරිගඩු පිපෙන ගතිය නලියෑම ප්‍රබලව දැනේ. අද දවසම මේ ගතිය තිබුණි. තවම එලෙසමයි. හිතට සතුටක්ද ඇත. නමුත් ආනාපානයට බාධාක් වේවිදෝයි යයි නොදැනෙමි. භාවනාව දිගටම කරගෙන යාමට කරුණාවෙන් උපදෙස් පතමි. තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
මේකෙත් ඇත්තටම භාවනාවේ ප්‍රතිඵලයක් නා. මේක භාවනාවට බාධාවක් වෙන්න බෑ. ඒක නිසා හොඳට බලන්න මේක හිතලුවක්ද එහෙම නැත්නම් නැති එකක් කල්පනා කරනවද නැත්නම් ඇත්තටම හැමේ ওই තියෙන නලියන පුපින ගති තියනවද කියලා. ඉතින් භාවනාවෙන් එන එකක් නම් එකයි කියන්න තියෙන්නේ, කිසිම තැනක බාධාවක් වෙන්න බෑ, කිසිම තැනක ෆ්‍රික්ෂන් එකක් එන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා සතුටක් තියෙනවා. ඉස්සෙල්ලා මේව කනගාටු වෙන කාරණානේ, අතෙන් නලියනවා මෙතන නලියනවා කහනවා. ගාය කියලා අපි කියන්නේ කඩි ගාය කියලා කියන්නේ. දැන් නෑ. ඒකේනොත් දැන් සතුටක් තියෙනවා. මොකද ලෑස්තිලා ගිය නිසා. දැන් ඒක ප්‍රීතියක් වටපත් වෙනවා. ලෑස්තිලා ගියේ නැත්තම් ඉතින් අපි රෑෂස් වලට බේත් ගාවි. තෙල් හාත්තු කරાવી. කහනවයි කියාවි. নানা ප්‍රකාර දේවල්. එකම තමයි ලෑස්තිලා ගියාට පස්සේ ඒක සතුටක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි සහතිකයක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක කවදාකවත් ආනපනට භාවනා කරන්න බාධා කරන්නේ නැහැ. වළංකාරය කොච්චර වළං හැදුවත් පොළු කාර්යයට වරුවයි. කුඩු කරන්න පුළුවන් දඩබඩ ගාලා. ඒ නිසා බය වෙන්න එපා. හදපු වළං කොච්චර කරනවත් බය වෙන්න එපා. පොල්ලට බයයි. So this is also somewhat similar to the early one. And today, specifically today, is going to experience a lot of tingling and sensation in the skin, in the body. And ultimately it became some thrills and frills. Because it is a clear indication, I am mindful. Sometimes that thrills and frills attract the mind more than the primary object of in-breath and out-breath. A whole day you can feel the skin become more stimulated like. So will that, the entertaining and enjoying it will disturb the basic mindfulness on the breath? Usually it is not. Because if that understanding, if that titillation and prickly sensation and itchiness and crawling like kind of thing, if you put into a proper perspective, this is because now mind is with the body. It is not with the past. It is not with the future. It is not with someone else. It is not with some other places. But here. Therefore, it is a result of meditation, and then it is a reason to be glad. You get frills and thrills. And sometimes they come high and then low down, go up and down, and it's a clear indication you are not dead. Clear indication you are not sleeping. Clear indication it is not unconscious, you are very conscious. And so far where were they? You don't know. Because you were in the past or future, thinking about another person or another place, then these things become immaterial. So still your value system may be appreciating the past and the future, other people and other places. If it is so, this won't become a prominent or possible. But whenever the mind, insight, the introspection happen, when the mind entering into the body, the skin or epidermis is welcoming. They have frills and thrills. Very clear, good indication. So therefore, guarantee is there, it is not distracting the mindfulness with the basic object. But I am not asking you to entertain it. But it's a early signs of rapture. So please continue it, and since it is a result of meditation, this will never make an impediment, block. You can proceed without any doubt.
Hi Bhante, I would like to share a meditation report. First, after the initial 20 minutes of sitting, can keep track of in and out breath at nostril. My breath is noticeable first at abdomen, then right nostril, then left nostril. After some time, I feel breath on both nostrils at the same time. Today, after initial 20 minutes, mind was calm. Thoughts that yesterday would take hold of mind now quickly vanish. During this calmness, I want to send metta. Even though there were no thought of anger or hatred, something was pulling me to just observe. No need to be active. During the meditation, I was able to feel the cushion, knees on the mattress. Finally, thoughts that would flood the mind yesterday do not appear and vanish with the same frequency. In addition, whereas yesterday I was reacting to thoughts, today they are just thoughts. I stopped seeing them as myself. Thank you.
Now, this is the way. After the 2 days, third day, we are sharing our experience. So that's something I expected. So whenever you have, of course, at the first few days is very sour and astringent and very bitter. But when you cut through, there are few thought moments where you can be with your primary object, and you see, as far as the object and the mind become closer and closer and closer, lesser chances for the thoughts to penetrate, lesser chances for the sounds to penetrate, lesser chances for other feelings or sensations to penetrate. So they come closer and closer and closer. So there you can understand, due to the early effort only, this happens. So the beginning, early part, you have to sacrifice. Then only this happen. Not everyone is happening in the same order. Some people are very skillful. And there you can see, as far as the mind is avenue to the primary object, and some become in the close, the lesser chances for thoughts are there, they can't creep in. So the Pandita Sayadaw, in Burma, he says that this house is well thatched and the roof is well intact, and there are no chances for water coming from the down also. So even the rain happens, we can meditate. But if the windows are open and the cross currents happens, sometimes the middle can be wet because of the wind and carrying the windy the climate. But if they are closed, even the rain happens, you won't get wet. So therefore, if any thought is going to stay, you are catching it and holding it. That is why the thoughts are staying. Otherwise, thoughts will never stay. Either if you have a specific hate or love to the sounds come and stay here. They are coming to go, but you are the person catching it. And then you are making complaint also. And the pains, every time, every corner, there's a sensation, there's a pain. But whatever you hold it, doctors will be very happy. They will say, you have that disease, this disease, you come to this queue and that queue. Nothing, this whole body is a pain. So you decide which disease you like, which pain you like. So instead, take the primary object or the breath or the mindfulness. There you can see all the time sounds are there, all the time thoughts are there, all the time pains are there. So you select and then you complain, make stories, fabrication. Whatever you select, there we say what you think that you are, what you see that you are. So to come up to that level, you have to let them have equal chances, choiceless awareness, evenly suspended attention. Of course, sometimes you are the winner, sometimes you are the loser. But you can understand, if you are mindful, if you are upright, you are steadfast, these things are available, but still you can do away with them. And it's a skill. It is not mindfulness. This is called clear comprehension. After a certain amount of mindfulness only, you get a chance to see everything without premeditated judgment or reaction, and then you are the boss. They are not going to interpret terms and conditions. So this is how we are organizing, or rather doing a preliminary survey, feasibility study. Without feasibility study, don't try to program. Because you are with the very narrow-minded and you think you saw. No. You have to see the whole range. Then only you can understand what a panoramic view. We have a very short, narrow part. With that, we are going to interpret it. Better thing is to just let happen it without premeditative ideas or judgmental mind. Because human can do it. So good. Expect this kind of reports more and more.
Dear Bhante, what are the Pali terms for noting mind, applying mind, and analytical mind?
So analytical and applied minds are very famous. This is called vitakka and vichara. And vitakka means applying thoughts. You note it in breath when the in-breath happens. Out-breath, you note it as out-breath. You can say in-breath, 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 or out-breath, out-breath, out-breath. That is the way you apply the mind. So once that you become skillful, the vichara, that means difference between in-breath and out-breath, is going to assimilate as a result of efficient applying thoughts. But if there is no mindfulness, mind is applying everything, no discipline, just like a monkey. Monkey jumping from the one branch to the other without any thinking, just look, jump. And you can't understand what the character type of a person who am I. He is jumping everywhere and making stories and making fabrication. But instead if you take your primary object and try to apply, it is like target shooting or throwing knives. And after long practice only, one day you can hit the target. Or you can have you can shoot bullseye. Till that you have to fight. Then after a while you develop kind of a skill as an archer, you as a shooter or as a throwing the knives. You can throw knife in the patterns then. Or either you can throw into the bullseye or into the corners, but you can't do at the beginning. So this is the discussion, discursive mind. Whatever it goes, that going and touching means it experience it. Verifiable experience. The two examples given in commentaries. Imagine a bloomed flower and a bee come and rest on the flower. That is like applying thought. Then it is rotating and collecting honey and the wax, the pollens. That is discursive thoughts. Just coming and landing is applying thoughts and then discursing. Or otherwise, when he is hitting the gong, you hit and then the rhythmic sound happens according to the characteristic of that particular gong. You hit and then the sounds. So likewise, whatever we do, when the eye go and catch visual object and sounds, smell, taste, touch, everything is first go and land upon that particular object and then touch it and get a first-hand experience. That first-hand experience is verifiable. But if you are not mindful, then you are jumping from one to the other, very difficult to have any control. And that is called monkey mind. That's called a mad monkey mind. So the world is rotating in the same direction for longer time, impossible with this humankind. Because they are such a mad fellows, running without any agenda. But still, never too late if you start to be mindful. After a while, you see vitakka vichara is somewhat is mastered, under control. And these are vitakka vichara. Labeling is called sallakkana, noting. And that was basically the sallakkana part or noting part came into being in Burma. Who Pandita, the Maha, he started from that. And there's one book called Insight and Calm by Saul Elleris. He says, due to this noting system only, Buddhism came to the West. Buddhism came to this sphere, where it became somewhat scientific. Earlier it was like a mystic, just people are meditating, you don't know how to share with others, you don't know how to instruct them, because noting was not there. So now, due to the noting, you can have certain amount of monitoring power or controlling power about the applied thoughts and the discursive thoughts, and whether you know or not, in disciplined way or disciplined way, it is always happening. So take into that in two ways, in the samatha way and the vipassana way, ultimately you can have certain amount of mastery. And then you are not succumb to all the impeachment happening, still among in the busy street, you know how to find the least frictional path, you know how to drive without getting an accident or reduce amount of the accidents. That is how we call the discipline. That is not the sila or moral discipline. This is called concentration discipline. And once that happens, it goes to the insight discipline. You have the controlling power about that. First you have to do the moral restraint and then the concentration restraint. So we are now talking about the concentration restraint. And then ultimately it goes the wisdom restraint. You can interpret terms to let the thing happen this way, not that way. Like that kind of a mastery can happen after going through the concentration state. Yes.
If vipassana comes more easily for me, should I still alternate my practice and try to jhana using samatha practice? I am still not clear as to the jhanas. Can vipassana lead one into the first, second jhanas, or only samatha practitioners get to experience full jhanas? Also, you did not mention nimittas as a sign, and what are all the signs vitakka vichara are to be abandoned?
So these are usual Buddhist questions. Those who learn it are utterly messed up. Who do not know whether samatha and vipassana, if they try to be mindful, no problem. If you are literally understand samatha and vipassana, definitely you get messed up. So as if that I am talking against the learning. No. If a monkey is given with a very sharp barber knife, what he is going to do? Today civilization also the same. That's why Einstein, Einstein, he told that given the very sharp axe to the uncivilized human beings, they are chopping. Because it's very sharp, you feel like flaying. You don't know. So the book knowledge must come with the mindfulness, and while you are practicing, that is helpful. So therefore, to decide whether I am a samatha bias or vipassana bias, very difficult. I tried that day, when you are in the in-breath and out-breath, if you know I am not otherwise but in-breath, it's a one sign. And the second thing is you can feel where the breath is touching. It's an additional information. And further you can see in-breath touch and the out-breath touch is still additional information. So one side of all, if you are just no breath, you are samatha type. If you know all the three, you are vipassana type. These are the some criterion, but they are not universal. So therefore just be mindful. Very difficult. You always try to put that into the samatha or vipassana, that which your ego, yourself, and monitoring and manipulating part is there. It is not a punishable mistake, but you have to be aware. Don't label your experience. Just tell the experience as such. Then progressing. Otherwise you are putting diesel into the petrol car. You have to understand the car. Accordingly, you have to put the fuel. Because it is already decided one. But only by simple put mind and be mindful with the breath and just report. And then other party, if the report is unbiased, other party may come and help you. But if you are going to say, I am this type and that type, you are making up with your perplexed mind, not the clarity with the mind. So let the meditation, let the mindfulness run, and after a while the clear comprehension come into being, there you find. Earlier I was rushing for decision unwantedly. Now you are not rushing to a decision, you are increasing the number of observation, very careful observation, don't rush to a decision. Then easy, life is easier. More observation, less inferences. Then you are very, just like a child, open. So therefore, I find many people understand meditation as samatha. That's how people say meditation means someone with the cross-legged and closed eyes and sitting. That is the sign for meditation. But in our mindful school, we do mindful games. Very active. So very difficult for people to understand whether they are meditating or whether they are mindful or not, because children are very active, actively participating. So therefore they are happy. They never recognize this as meditation. So I am always try to remove meditation from mindfulness. Just like when you are eating banana, you have to peel it off. Otherwise, if you are going to eat whole thing, your experience of banana is different. So the Buddhists have utterly disadvantages when the mindfulness came into being. That's why I am very happy. Venerable Jnanaponika's book on power of mindfulness is completely written by a German person. He was a monk, of course, but is completely new from the canonical point of view. So I have a few copies in Sinhala, but you can download that from the Buddhist Publication Society website, Power of Mindfulness, and it's given in a completely different way. So Sri Lankan well-educated monks and others, they are not happy with that kind of interpretation. They are very pragmatic, very scientific. So therefore, just be mindful, and that mindfulness, lucky enough, in that book, he introduced still lower level of mindfulness called bare attention. Don't let it recognize as even mindful. This is still lower. So when you are entering this building, first you have to go into the doorstep. And then only you come into this doorstep is you are still not in the house. Yeah, the stepping stone. So likewise in mindful school, my main theme is not to call even it as a mindfulness. Just say bare attention. I coined the word Satimatraya. So whenever I say Satimatraya, they are talking with the top class mindfulness and complaining and fighting with me. This is not the Samma Sati or the right mindfulness. I am not talking about right mind. I am taking just the stepping stone. Just bare sati, bare mind, bare attention. And interesting, when that book came, when Jnanaponika, later Bhikkhu Bodhi, have you heard about Bhikkhu Bodhi? Yeah, Bhikkhu Bodhi gave a criticism about the bare attention. And later, after when Jnanaponika passed away, they found in England, after doing 30 odd number of years introducing mindfulness to the teachers, the students, they found when the people become mindful, they become self-centered. They are introvert, become a turtle-like tugging. And therefore they are understanding about the other fellows, and they are not socializing, they are not talking like. So they found that mindfulness must be introduced with the the sympathy, empathy and compassion kind of thing. So they wrote a research article, mindfulness must go with the compassion. This article came to Bhikkhu Bodhi. And Bhikkhu Bodhi wrote to me, Dhammajiva, you are dealing with mindfulness, if you are not introducing compassion and other kind of things, still the person who is practicing will be introvert. They are like turtles. And I thanked him, and then I wanted to tell, still I had no chance to write to him. I am just giving the bare attention, not the mindfulness. And the bare attention means you have openness, you have the choiceless awareness. So it must grow by itself, rather than introducing samatha or vipassana or compassion or metta, nothing. Just let the mindfulness to roll. And there it will take just like when you are pouring water into any vessel, the water takes the shape of the vessel. You have nothing to teach. So in my certain percentage of success in the mindful school is, I never prescribe mindfulness as such. I am telling bare attention. The still lower level, the beginner's mind. Then very easy to have access. Otherwise this, of course, we in the Dhamma talk, we are giving so much of information, so much of terminology. So many do not know how to handle it. So don't take it a burden. Let the mindfulness to flow, just the mindfulness to unreveal in a least frictional path or in the comfort zone. And later you know how to accommodate the theory. Otherwise in Sri Lanka, very difficult. 70% Buddhist, imagine. All the other religious masters, they come and shake hands with me, this is a very good one. But the Buddhist masters come and ask, are you Buddhist? So lucky enough I am a monk. Otherwise difficult. Still I am a success. Because I know how to run the game. Because I just move like a wind in the forest. Forest do not know that it is going through, the wind is going through. If you have a hard and fast army track or army platoon, they can't go through the forest. But the wind can. So therefore you must learn, you have to understand the beginner's mind. Just be mindful. Don't meditate even. Then they come into a frame, shape, and you are comparing, I am a successful meditator or unsuccessful meditator, I am good and bad. For the mindfulness, nothing bad. Nothing. You can't make a mistake once you take in the mindfulness. So always positive. So whether it's samatha bias or vipassana bias, no harm. For the moment you are thinking and talking with the perplexed mind. Let the mind first calm down, and it will do the due decision, the directions in the most Dhamma way or most in the natural way.
I cannot stop controlling the breath. What do you advise?
So it says that the forced breathing, when you are trying to apply, when you are trying to sit and see the breathing, often you feel like, just like how to call bellow, that blacksmith is using to blow the air. It is quite natural. You know, whenever you try to learn how to ride a foot bike, if you are an elderly person, you hold the handle in such a way, it's more like your hand is like an iron. But then you can't turn it. But young children, they learn it. But after you learn, after you balance it, you can do very light touch. Or you can have only one hand. Then still you can control. Sometimes you can release both the hands. You can bend it and you can run. So likewise at the beginning, that hard and fast touch is there. So I am going to take one step ahead. Imagine now that part is, well, you are not you are just allow the natural breathing to happen. And then unexpectedly you see breath going to ceases to exist, breath becomes subtle, then again you feel like forced breathing. Because you feel like something wrong. You feel like now an object for the meditation to mindfulness to anchor. There also forced breathing can happen. Otherwise you may start snoring, sleeping. Or otherwise you are feel like moving, because the letting it happen impossible for your mind, because egotistic idea. You feel like doing something. Ergo cogito sum. I think because I think therefore I am. At least you have to think. Or you have to talk. Or you have to do. That is the way the ego is expressing itself. So accept it, no harm. Let the forced breathing happen, don't do it. And slowly, after practice, it naturally comes, you will come along with the line. And when the second time is, when the breath is disappearing, again you feel like forced breathing, and you can laugh. Because the body need no so much of oxygen. Then oxygen consumption reduce, but you feel like. And there's one Moguk system, not the Moguk system. One system in Burma, and the particular monk was the farmer. All of a sudden he renounced and go and get ordained, and he found a system. He says, if you have any bodily pains, if you have any thought problem, if you have any kind of thing, keep on forced breathing 15 minutes. And they stop all of a sudden. Then you get a bright light. Because so much of oxygen. So and after that he won't allow you to move your body for 1.5 hours. And quick method to get enlightened. Forced breathing. And then stop all of a sudden. And then this thing can happen. So that explains to the oxygen layer per amount in the brain. So likewise, so best thing is to let the normal breathing happen. When you are walking also, you feel like slowing down, or you feel like artificial. But to learn your normal pace, it takes long time. And if you try to eat mindfully, your normal pattern will be disturbed at the beginning. That is natural. So you have to be compassionate. You have to forgive and forget, continue. More questions?
Yes, we have 6 more questions. Okay, what is your opinion on combining fasting and meditation?
Opinion on?
Combining fasting and meditation.
Yeah, whether you are eating or fasting, if you do mindfully, no harm. Anything you can do mindfully. Many people say that when you are doing inside meditation or practice, don't do puja, don't do this and that rituals. No, you can do any ritual. You can do any devotional thing. Do it mindfully. Then it is completely different. The only thing is that you must understand that mindfulness is the most important aspect. Whatever you do under the light of mindfulness, always it is better. Are we going to continue? Because now no, still we have time. 4:30. If it is so, now we have 30 minutes gone excess. Are we to continue or shall we postpone?
Some long questions. Not
few questions.
Okay, I'll read it. So, when I try to meditate while sleeping, I enter into a conscious space of nothingness. I am not aware of my breath or anything until I start to pinch or breathe abnormally heavy. Is it better not to meditate when that's sleepy? Sometimes I can see my dream monkey mind and redirect it.
Yeah, that is about when you are making use your lying down position as a approach for mindfulness. I would like to remember that there's one girl, 7 years old, and she is writing to me. She says, Bante, when I am in the sleep, I get nightmares. So therefore, going to sleep is kind of a agony for me, and there's no way out. My mother is trying her best, but still, all of a sudden, sometimes I get nightmares, and then I have a phobia, fear to the night as well as the bed. Then one day, mother took me to the Satipasala, the mindful school, and there that instructor has told, even in the bed, even in the lying down position, you can be mindful. And she says that as far as I am going to the bed and sleep mindfully, now no nightmare problem is not there. And to tell you, even no dreams. I can sleep. The last sentence, when I am in the sleep, I know I am sleeping. Unimaginable. Sleeping means unawareness. But she says, no nightmares, no dreams, but I know I am sleeping. So I read Carlos Castaneda's book in the South American, Mexican civilization, and their teacher is, their group leader is selecting. If someone can awaken into the dream, he is the leader. You have to prove. So that young girl is telling, since I am going to the bed with mindfulness and practicing, not only lack of nightmares, no dream, but I know I am sleeping. I just wanted to go and meet that girl, a very serene, a very young girl, and I asked her, how do you verify that you are in sleep? She can't explain, but the sentence is still existing. So therefore nothing you can exceptional for the mindfulness. All the activities you do, you can do mindfulness, because like this house, this space you can use for anything, you can do it under the light of mindfulness. There's nothing, the mindfulness, there's nothing exceptional, so therefore do it. And don't try to test it. I mean, testing is happening, no harm. But later you will understand that is the way the mind is making use this tool of mindfulness. Nothing change in your day-to-day, your life pattern. Exactly the same. Don't try to be a disciplined person. Don't try to be a moral person. Nothing. Do the same lifestyle and under the light of mindfulness. Then naturally, it comes to the balance. It comes to the center. Otherwise, you are eccentric. In reflexology, when you are massaging, if that particular organ is hyperactive, it will low down. If it is low active, it will come to the medium size. So therefore, it is doing no harm, no gadgets, no chemicals, no second person. You can do reflexology massage. Exactly the mindfulness. You will understand what is the off the track and eccentric, but mindfulness is bring it back to the norm. So please continue.
Sometimes during meditation, I think about how to solve a problem. As this is occurring, I do sense this phenomenon as a distraction and a product of doubt. However, I find that in this space, I come up with wise solutions. It's a strange paradox that in order to let go, I must go through the thoughts. What do you think of this?
This is about that be mindful and how to take a wise decision. When I am practicing and the mindfulness sets in, can I sort out any dragging question or sort of thing? Normally it happens. When the mindfulness take the upper hand, the things get sorted out. But this is indicating the conscious way of thinking. And it says when I can't remember the person, he was thinking about the benzene. And while sleeping, the benzene formula came into mind. Remember? Huh? Yeah, calculate. He was thinking and he can't figure it out how the oxygen and carbon fix into that kind of a behavior, phenol, benzene. While he's sleeping, he found a snake came, and snake bit in its own tail. And then all of a sudden he thought, it's called power of thinking without thinking. You read Michael Gladwell, The Gist, the book, Power of Thinking Without Thinking, and Thought Without a Thinker by Daniel Goleman. The thought with the thinker is shit. Definitely you are in a wrong bias, the answer. But there are something, when there is no thoughts, all of a sudden happening, thought without a thinker, or power of thinking without thinking. So these are the things we give Nobel Prize, we give Magsaysay Prize, and we think that a revolutionary thing happened. But it is not belong to that particular person. The person is not there. If the person is not there, I am using the same term again. So such a thing happens. So therefore, don't try to exercise your mind. Whenever mind becomes flat, when the water becomes flat, reflection happens. If it is with the frills and thrills and all the kind of things, that is what the Buddha attribute this to the Nissaranas or the hindrances. But when the water becomes, it is natural, reflecting. So therefore we are naturally good. But the thinking pattern and all the creativity and all the productive things, it is if it is natural process, it's very poetic, it's very aesthetic. Other things are somewhat artificial. So therefore, make sure that as far as you are keeping the mind as empty as possible, you are naturally solving the problem. And the best thing is you are not creating a problem. That's the best. And sorting out happens. But that answer is not belongs to you. It is human answer. Your each gene and each of your all memory is a human history. And you are getting plugged into the universal cosmic library, you get the answer very quickly. Rather than thinking and exercising yourself. So therefore these are the byproducts of mindfulness.
This is directly related to the meditation. So sometimes when I think I am getting encouraging and awakening messages from past lives, it gets an expansive somatic feeling that spreads through my body. Though I feel this as truth, it's hard to distinguish whether these sensations are a product of my ego. I know I should pay attention to the phenomena as impermanence. Is my ego clinging to much of these spiritual ideas? Or should I trust what seems to be my intuition?
Yeah, just like answering the question that your past life, what is going to happen in future, and what the other person is thinking in this moment in the other place can happen. But whether it's a concept or reality, no one to verify. It may be a concept. And if you are believing, you will make sure it is a truth. Then it is a truth. So read Brian Weiss. And it happened him is a Jewish origin. And it happened him to accept the past life. then he became a very famous psychotherapist. And later he started not the retrospection, forward planning also. Then he says that is a mind-made thing. The past things also, and the near-death experience, they have done so much of experiments, and National Telegraph paper published. 40% of them they tested and 16% proved. They are not meditators, but they are going through certain amount of experiences, some consistency. And some of them are verifiable. They can feel, at that moment they can see, they can predict, they can see what others are thinking like. But whether it's a concept or reality, very difficult. So therefore we are living in our own bubble. So don't be fussy with that. The thing happen. Don't reject. Don't accept. But try to be simply, be here and now, be mindful. And if they are a product of mindfulness, they will never create any friction. And within the Buddhist sphere, the Buddha had so much of powers to see the past lives. And even to the future, even to the other minds. It is not rejected. But it must be a product of your mindfulness rather than imagination. And therefore many people have so much of capacities and high performances. They are mentally upset people, imbalanced people. Sometimes their jackpot is working. Then it's okay. Otherwise you have to go to asylum. But mindfulness is not that. It's very natural, very centric, not eccentric. So therefore this is possible. But don't camouflage, don't miss your path due to the product, due to the results happening. You simply be beginner's mind, continue with mindfulness.
Okay, why does the universe require such a cruel trap of and in samsara for awakening?
What the universe?
Why does the universe requires such a trap of and in samsara for awakening?
The universe is your product. You have created the trap. You have created the cruelty. So universe is your own imagination, your own product. Be here and now, there is no universe. You have to be eccentric to be in the universe. You have to have a dimension, space and time. But go to the here and now, at least you are not there. There is no universe. So therefore, if you think world is cruelty, that means you are not mindful that you created such a cruel thing. And in the Buridatta Jataka, the Bodhisattva itself it says, is this what I am believing as the creator? If he has created so much of the perversions and lying, why the creator is creating this kind of a thing? Even before the Enlightenment. So therefore, under your very nose what is happening, you can believe it. But the other things, cruelty and kind of thing, if your mind is cruel, world is cruel. If your mind is full of loving kindness, the world is full of loving kindness. So that what you see, that you are. So try to be, not to be cruel or not to be loving, just to be as it is. That's the best.
You want me to read the rest of the questions? Rest of the questions? Yes, a lot more in it. තවුඩක් තියෙනවා ඒක මේ ඉතුරු කොටසක් කියවන්නට.
ඒ කොළ එළියුමෙන්. ඒකට ඉවරද? So it's continuing. Yeah.
So pictures of samsara are even depicted as an evil thing. Did the Buddha withhold this truth from us because he knew it would cause some unnecessary distraction from enlightenment? Certainly he must have known, but still chose to abstain from telling us.
Yeah, that cruelty and whenever someone is talking about the samsara, it is shown as the devil or shown as the hellfire and all the kind of thing. So that's the way you create the hell and you create the universe. So Nagarjuna is writing the Madhyama Karika. He says, the day you understand the whole samsara, you are enlightened. Without understanding the samsara, you can't get enlightened. Therefore, samsara and enlightenment is the same. It was a revolution. The people are not happy. No, this cruelty you have to understand because that is my own creation. So I can't reject it, telling the world is cruel, I am very compassionate, and how come that, and the Buddha knew everything and Buddha closed everything. No, that's your mind-made thing. Mano pubbangama dhamma, mano settha manomaya. It says mind is the forerunner, mind is the supreme, and it is mind-made. So have a pleasant feeling upon that, then your life is happy. If you have unpleasant feeling, your whole life is an agony. Yes.
When the Buddha gained enlightenment, the deities in the higher realms cheered. Does this mean that they are also rooting for us to gain enlightenment?
They are rooting. They are
rooting for us.
helping.
Yeah. The
So it is that due to the aspect of phenomena of enlightenment, that the unseen beings also was cheerful and asking whether the unseen beings and the deities, their happiness and sorrow based upon our human mind or human nature. That we are all deities. They are not unseen. So therefore anyone who is practicing and going along the line, they are like, true people. They are living gods. Rather than you see the unseen things. I am not disbeliever or believer of that, but I am telling, believe on what is you met up with. We have enough good people on the earth. And if you associate with them, you will be good. And if you can't find them and if you are still going with the other people due to your immediate necessities, then you are in trouble. So therefore, it is not an essential, unavoidable, intrinsic part to say there are some unseen beings. May or may not be. But the Buddha says, see the breath, touch the breath. That is under your very nose. It is tangible. That is why you have to start with the body. And we are having a discussion in Sri Lanka back. The gods, that these beings, celestial beings, are so unlucky. Because we are born lucky. They don't understand suffering. They never think about get rid of suffering. We are not. We 50-50, we have suffering and unsuffering. So we have kind of endurance. They are born lucky people. That's why sometimes I see Americans also. So much of facilities and they are committing suicide and they are so unhappy, they are frustrated and talking negative. But not all the time. So you have to have a certain amount of balance. That's why the many people enlightened are middle class people, not the top rank 1% rich people or very low, poor people, the mediocre people can understand because they have the balance. Soup is very tasty. Not the top class people and the low. So therefore, without the unseen beings, we can explain the life. That is what we call the science sometimes. So therefore, it is not a serious issue to have them in our boat. Without that, you can go there. Having them means that is your own pet. No harm. In Satipatthana Sutta, nowhere mentioned. In the Noble Eightfold Path, nowhere it is mentioned. So without that, I hope you can manage. And we have taken 30 minutes more. So we'll go for 6 until 6:30. We'll do a walking meditation and try sitting later. Thank you very much for the participation and listening. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
One thing, I want to verify for tomorrow, same agenda.
Yes, and I just at the beginning I mentioned tomorrow also morning talk is there because 2 more topics we have, and evening we can use it for walking meditation. Yes.
So there's a 2 o'clock meditation and then we meet again at 4:30 for question.
Yeah, but 2 o'clock we can sitting and then one have a walking meditation up to the 4, and 4:30 we are going for question and answer. Because now we must give enough time for meditation because we had the topics covered. That is what the idea it was. Good.